Welcome to the Grad Work program, sponsored by Counseling Research Institute of Kenya, inspired by the desire to reach out, empower, and transform lives. The presenter is Stephen Kamore. The episode today is focusing on parenting, and our topic of discussion is handling defiant children in the family. The issue of children rebellion is addressed in the Bible. In the Old Testament, rebellious sons were literally killed. You can read this in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 18 and to 21. And we can read together. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father and mother and will not listen to them when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the elders at the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, "This son of yours is stubborn and drunkard. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. You must purge the evil among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid." This is a very interesting perspective of dealing with rebellious children. Among the Israelites, they used to kill them. And the reason why they were being killed is that the others who are being rebellious may learn. So it was a way of inflicting fear among the children so that they can minimize deviant behaviors in the society. This approach is not applicable in our society today. We cannot kill our rebellious children as a way of discouraging children deviance in our society. More human approaches should be applied. Jesus Christ brought a new era of grace, unconditional love, and forgiveness as illustrated in the parable of the prodigal son. You can read this in the Gospel of Luke chapter 15 verse 11 to 24. Now Jesus gave this parable to give us a new insight on how to deal with rebellious children in our families. The best way to deal and win difficult children is through unconditional love and acceptance. Parenting difficult children require great patience, determination, and prayers. Deviance in children is a common challenge, especially among the adolescents. The question on how to handle deviant children is something most parents struggle with at one point or another. Teenage rebellion and defiance are hallmarks of adolescence and can be difficult waters to navigate for families. Difficult children are challenging for parents to control due to their challenging temperaments. Let us reflect on this experience of dealing with difficult children by reflecting on our experience when we visit supermarkets. As a parent, imagine being in a supermarket to do some shopping. You pick a trolley with wheels which are not properly oiled, and it cannot move. When you push forward, it moves off to the opposite side. You throw all your weight behind the handle, fighting desperately to keep the trolley on course. Let me ask you a question. Is it not tiring? Then another day, you visit the same supermarket. This time you pick a different trolley with well-oiled wheels and easy to move and walk with allowed the supermarket shopping. Let me ask you the second question. Is it not easy and enjoyable? Now, the difference between the two shopping trolley is that one has oiled wheels that go where it is guided, while the other has crooked, bent wheels that refuse to yield. Now, this is the same experience when you are dealing with defiant and compliant children. Now, when you're dealing with defiant children, they have crooked wheels. They do not want to go where they are directed by the parents, because their own inclinations take them in other directions. Now, most parents get triggered by child's deviance that they automatically come down like sledgehammer. Parents with difficult children must expect to use more energy in bringing them up as compared with compliant children, because the difficult child has a strong will, or we say they are strong-willed. There is nothing wrong with having a difficult child. That is something that we must understand. All children are good and they are children, whether they are compliant or they are difficult to deal with. There is nothing wrong with having such children. No parent, therefore, should feel guilty because of the behavioral problem of difficult children. A difficult child can be good and successful in life. The worst mistake a parent can make is to give up on a difficult and a rebellious child. I want you to reflect on the red light on your dashboard when you are driving a car. They signals you that something is not right and something needs to be fixed. That's the same way rebellion is like that red light on your car's dashboard. It is signaling you that there's nothing wrong with the child, but there is something probably wrong with the relationship. And you need to fix that by reconnecting with your child and not attacking the child. Sometimes when life gets difficult and the behavior of children fall apart, we can feel as if we are losing ourselves. We are losing touch with them, even losing our love for our children. Sometimes we are separated by them, by our work, other time because of the marriage breakup and other circumstances. And we need to reconnect with our children, even when we feel like we are not happy. Now, genuine reconnection with different children, while feeling encouraged with them, needs unconditional love and new understanding, like the way we have read in the story of the prodigal son, that the father was able to reconnect with his defiant child through unconditional love and new understanding. Now, it needs to come from deep commitment and the willingness to put in effort for the children. Now, reconnection cannot be bought with bribes or cannot be conditional. You need to take it seriously and do it with the deepest level of commitment in your heart. Your child will sense your level of commitment and will respond if they believe it is genuine. And you can be able now to look at the same story of the prodigal son and see how this son who came back and how he responded to the father. The father even went to show his commitment even by preparing a party, a home welcoming party for him. Now, difficult children cannot be rectified and won by punishment. Punishment in most cases does not work. The best way to resolve deviance is connection with your child. Now, difficult or rebellious children may portray some characteristics, and I want to say that these characteristics can be taken positively. They can be, if they are well nurtured, they can make these children very successful. If they are neglected, the same characteristics can actually be used by the same children to destroy their destinies. One of the characteristics is that they are resistant in many ways. Now, the resistance may start early in childhood and proceed on to adolescence and later on into adulthood. They don't like to be told what to do, when to do it, or how to do it. They rebel against this sort of micromanagement. We are living at a time when parents want to micromanage their children through what we call the helicopter parenting. You want to monitor them in school, you want to monitor them in their bedroom, you want to monitor them outside there, you want to micromanage everything that they are doing. 2, they are good in taking risk in life and enjoy exploring life due to their self-confidence. Just like this prodigal son. And you can see he took a risk by going away from home. He had the confidence to go and explore. Although he never succeeded and he came back home frustrated, this is a characteristic that is portrayed in him as a rebellious child. They do not accept new situations and things unless they are convinced of their importance. And this is one area where parents are not happy. They don't like being asked very many questions. These children will not take any situations or anything without a clear conviction on why it is they are doing it and why it is important. And these are questions sometimes parents don't like asking because they may feel like they are nagging them. The other one is that they have self-determination and enjoy being sole decision maker in their life issues. Some of them are highly intelligent and they can challenge the parents, particularly in decision making. They will keep on challenging what you tell them because they want to make their own independent decisions in regard to their lives. They tend to test authority. This is another challenging characteristic that many parents are not comfortable with. They challenge your authority as a parent at home. They challenge the authority of the teachers and even the church leaders and the leaders in the society in general. Now, parents should know that these characteristics are not necessarily negative. If these children are well nurtured and you don't give up on them, those are very strong characteristics that can make them succeed in many ventures in their life. And therefore, my advice to you, my listener, if you have a difficult, rebellious child, don't give up on him or her. Now, the key question again, now I want us to address, how do we deal with these children? There are many suggestions we are going to make, and don't just listen to them, because these are things we have applied in life and they have worked. We have given them to children even when they come for counseling, and their lives have been transformed. We have shared them with the parents, and they have been able to transit successfully with difficult children. One of them is use dialogue more than command. As children grow from the age of 1 onward, and as they continue becoming older, you need to minimize the use of command and use more of dialogue. Now, parents must grow with their children. Transition should be viewed as a process for both children and the parents. A child should go through life transitions together with his or her parents. So as children transit through life, parents must also grow with them and adjust in their parenting approaches. It is evident, even from some cases we have held in legal counseling cases, that some defiant behavior as a result of parenting approaches. In my book, The Art of Parenting, I have discussed how parenting styles and approaches determine the nature and the character of the children that we raise up in our family. But for this particular case, I am going now just to discuss two major transition ages, I call them that way, that every person or every parent must know. Whether you have rebellious children or not, it is good for you to know this. And you can also read the same in my book, The Art of Parenting. Now, one of the age stage, I call it command stage. This is the stage that is comprising of children between the age of 1 to 12 years. Children in this particular stage survive on command and instructions given to them by the seniors. And the seniors here includes their parents and the teachers. Now, children depend, therefore, on the guidance and the direction of the seniors, including the parents. So at this particular stage, children are good in obeying instructions without questioning. And this is one thing that makes parents enjoy parenting children during this particular stage. Unlike later on, when we have said they will be questioned. Now nobody questions them. You just tell them go to church, they say yes. You tell them don't do this, don't visit that one, these are going to be afraid, and they just comply with your instructions. Now, this is the stage that the parent can take advantage and build character and discipline in their children. Now, behavior in this stage is guided by rules and increasing sense of consequences. So children obey instructions according to the consequences, whether they are positive or negative. Now, a trusting relationship is therefore necessary in this particular stage. Adults are perceived as an authority. Parents are perceived as an authority. Teachers are perceived as an authority. And you'll hear children talking about it. Unless my mom says this, I will not do anything else. Unless my teacher does this, they are always correct, because they rarely resist authority. And that's why this stage, these children are very good at home, they are very good in school, they are good in the church and in the society. Everybody is happy with them. because they are polite, obedient, and calm. I call this stage the honeymoon period of parenting. Now, the challenge now that comes is that parents, because of getting used to command and their children obeying them, they forget that these children are growing and their mind and the brain is also developing. And now they are on a journey discovering the environment and discovering themselves. And therefore, they get stuck there in command when now their children transit on to the next stage I call the consent stage. And if you are not careful, this is where now there is a disconnect now between you as a parent and your teenage boy or girl. Now they go to this second stage, I call it the consent age. Now this is the age between 13 to 18 years. In this age, children become responsible for their behavior. The goal of parenting is helping children to build their own self-control. Remember, they are going now to become autonomous in the next stage. And the goal of parenting is to help children grow from dependence to independence. Now, children believe that no one can tell them do what they don't want to do, and no one can stop them from what they want to do. And now this is one of the area now where we start now seeing conflicts between the teenagers and their parents, because there are very many disagreements. Now they no longer just obey you, they question you. Some things they will do, other things they will actually question. And parents now start getting frustrated. What has changed all of a sudden in my daughter or my son? Now, children at this stage challenge senior members of the society, include the parents. They don't like being treated like children. They demand to be listened to and respected. They may rebel against parental authority if they don't feel appreciated and respected. In fact, this is why there are strikes in secondary schools. And in our programs on school discipline, we deal with these issues and we're able to empower the teachers to understand on how to transit with these teenagers in their schools. Now, understanding why your teen is acting defiantly is crucial to understand what you can do about it. There are 5 fundamental reasons why teenagers become defiant. And you should always use these 5 reasons to explore the reason or the root behind the rebellion in your child. The first reason is search for identity. When children enter into adolescent years, they may struggle with issues of identity. They may constantly ask themselves questions like, who am I? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of my life? And so on and so forth. While pondering upon such questions, they are actually trying to know more about their existence and individuality. When parents pay no heed to their questions, they end up assuming everything on their own. They become rebellious and want to take decisions for themselves. The second reason is the search for independence. Struggling for independence could be one of the reasons why teenagers engage in rebellion. When a child moves into adolescence, he expects to attain more freedom and independence from his parent and family. Remember, they are now growing from dependence to independence, and gradually this should be allowed. They should continue growing their wings to fly away when they become adults, unless you want to live with your children clinging on you and depending on you throughout their entire life. And this is a pattern we are observing in our society, where children are not growing and they are not even going away from their homes, so that now you become a parent to them, When they are adult, you continue becoming their parents. When they get children, you are still parenting them. So you need to facilitate independence. However, the real problems begin when some parents unconsciously confuse independence with rebellion, thinking their teen might be slipping out of their hands. This is one of the fears that most of the parents have. So parents' reactions toward teens' growing independence may actually become the cause of rebellion. For example, if you will not allow your teenager to hang out with friends in a mall, they might become fearful, and somehow they might sneak out without your permission. And when you discover that, then you say it is rebellion. So that desire for independence is a major factor, especially among the teenagers. Now the other reason is the desire to have control over their lives. Gone are the days when parents used to control their teens and decide everything about them. What to wear, where to go, whom to meet, and so on. As children become older, they like to enjoy taking authority over their actions. Parents, therefore, should understand that the main goal of parenting is to help children move from dependence to independence. Many parents want to control their children's life even when they become adults. We have heard of cases even of marriages that are breaking because parents were unable to separate with their children. Even when your daughter is married or your son is married, you are still micromanaging their homes from a distance. And this is very dangerous because the purpose of parenting is to give children roots and then give them wings and give them the freedom when they become old and grown-ups to fly and manage their lives. Teenagers do not like when parents become authoritative and enforce their decisions on them. When this happens, they tend to defy their actions. They rebel when parents do not trust their decision-making abilities. Reason number 4 is the desire for acceptance. It is a fact that we must accept as parents that teenagers get influenced by their peers during adolescence. Peer pressure influences them to a great extent. The teens want to adopt the lifestyle of their peers. They want to become part of their crowd. They want to desperately fit in them. One of the cultural factors of the teenagers is conformity, the desire to behave like their friends. They feel the pressure of doing what everybody is doing. While doing so, they might even risk losing their own individuality. They might forget their own likings. They might become someone else and entirely adopt someone else's lifestyle. The pressure of fitting into the crowd leads to rebellion. And this is one of the areas where parents have issues with their children. These children no longer live a life of their own, and they want to become someone else. Now, they would not even listen to their parents or family members, and they do whatever they feel is right. They forget to accept who they really are. And you realize this is a major area of concern for the parents. Now, the last reason is seeking for attention. Teens may do things to get attention. They love when someone pays attention to their appearance, to their actions, and to their lifestyles. They want people to notice them. They would do things to seek attention. So lack of attention, particularly from parents, can cause them to seek attention from wrong people in many wrong ways. For instance, a teenage girl may want to get positive attention at home, and if she doesn't get it, she would go out and seek that solace from her peers, and they might influence her negatively. So that's why it is important that parents focus and give attention to their children. That desire for attention is a major reason for rebellion. Now, being a parent, therefore, you need to understand how critical it is to know why your teen is rebelling. Always use those 5 reasons to analyze the root cause of the rebellion. After identifying the underlying cause, you can help your teen and make him or her see a clear picture of reality. When you find your teen acting rebelliously, you should not lose temper, but rather act in calm way. Allow some freedom and let them make wise decisions. Remember, only you can help your teen by properly guiding them through this hard time. The solution to teen rebellion is simply in dialogue, as we have already seen. When engaged in dialogue, they feel respected and involved. Parents dealing with adolescents should minimally use command and mostly seek consent through dialogue. They should agree to bring down their crown of authority and become close friends. They become partners in life, and they start now playing the role of a mentor. Now, let your child know that your intention as a parent are to keep him safe and help him grow into 1, a responsible, 2, productive and self-reliant adult. Now, to empower you on how to deal with these defiant, rebellious children, I make the following practical interventions for you. You can try them and they will work. 1, tap the power of appreciation. When dealing with a difficult child, try to focus on what they are doing right than what they are not doing right. Appreciation can be in the form of praise. Make sure you build on the positive attitudes and action of your child. Praise your children for their positive behavior. And I want to say here that always appreciation is a multiplier of good behavior. So don't focus on the negative always. Focus more on what is positive and reinforce it. 2, treat your child with respect. Just as with grown-ups, you know, normally children like to be respected. They may be in a bad mood, or they may be feeling overwhelmed and they want some downtime. Be firm about what your child must do, but speak to him in a loving and understanding manner. When you set a good example of how to express an opinion or to disagree in a loving and respectful manner, children will always follow. They feel respected. Remember, they are children, but they are human beings. They have feelings like you. They have emotions. They get angry. So always ensure that you don't attack their self-esteem and their ego. Now, and that's why in the next one we are saying, address That is point number 3. Learn to address the behavior without bashing your child. You want to continue to build self-esteem and self-worth in your children. Always consider that if you don't want them to see you as their enemy. Everybody wants to be corrected in a peaceful manner. Even if it is a criticism you are giving, give it in a loving manner. Let us not overreact to our children. The next point, listen to your children's feeling. If your child tells you in a reasonable way that he or she is feeling angry toward you as a parent, thank him for sharing his true feelings with you. You don't have to agree that his anger is appropriate in that situation, and you may not even change your mind, but you show your child respect by listening to his feelings. Children who feel free to share their own anger don't have to rebel or act out to the parents. So give them that space to share with you their feelings, how they are feeling about you, how they are feeling about their lives, how they are feeling about their friends, how they are feeling about school, and anything else that could be disturbing them. The next point is get to the root of the behavior. Look for the causes and triggers of your child's defiance. Once you investigate the cause, you can take steps to adjust situations so that your child cannot oppose you any further. So you need to ask yourself questions like, is there any pattern of behavior I'm observing? Are there certain specific are there some specific things that he doesn't like or he wants to do? Now, once we investigate the root cause, you will be able to deal with the problem. And I have made it easier for you how you can be able now to look for the root cause. Use the 5 reasons I have given as to why our children rebel. So look at that and ask yourself, where is this rebellion? Could it be he is looking for independence? Is it for the control? Is he looking for attention? Try to use that and it will help you. Now the other one is that establish absolute ground rules. Make sure your child knows exactly what is expected of him. Don't expect children to behave in a good way if they don't know your expectations. So it is good to let them know the behaviors that are acceptable and that are not acceptable to you. And you must make sure that you discuss this with them. That way they will not undermine your authority. And if there are consequences, then ensure they are implemented. Because again, if you say there are consequences and you don't implement them, then they will ignore your authority because they will see that you are not a serious parent. So that's why I'm saying enforce the consequences. And effective consequences can include either removal of some privileges or even impositions of some conditions. So it is for you to find out what really works for your child. The other reason or the other way of dealing with these defiant children, choose your battles. Parenting is exhausting even when there are no defiant children. But when one of your children is misbehaving, the difficulties are multiplied. Because I remember I have said that if you are dealing with a defiant child, you must use more energy. So choose to spend your physical and mental energy wisely by avoiding building mountains from molehills. Small issues should not be overblown. So some of those small issues you can ignore them and probably leave your energy for serious issues. That's what we are trying to say. Another way of doing it is act and don't react. When you witness defiant behavior from your child, don't get angry and lose your temper. Instead, take a step back and tell your child that you don't approve of the behavior that he needs to stop. Tell him you'll talk about the consequences later when both of you can talk peacefully. This will give your child time to think about his or her actions and the potential consequences. So it is always good to choose your battles wisely. Then the other point is that keep your power. Never engage in an argument with your child. You are enforcing the child's perception that they have the power to challenge you, which can lead even to a more deviant behavior. Remember, you are still an authority in the family. In the family structure, you are actually an authority to this particular child. So the next time your child tries to draw you into a power struggle over something, just say, we have discussed it, and then leave. Don't entertain a lot of discussions, because they can actually bring the power struggle between you and your child. Now, if the defiance behavior persists, having tried a few of those strategies that we have shared, then I recommend professional help. The child could be having behavior disorder or other issues, probably that may require assessment by a professional like a counselor, a psychologist, or even sometimes a psychiatrist and other people who have done some courses on children. And I believe that what we have shared in this presentation has given you some insight that can help you deal with a rebellious child. You can share this with a friend to empower him or her. Subscribe to my YouTube for more empowering and inspiring life transforming teachings. Like our Facebook, Counseling Research Institute of Kenya. And I want to say this, that the Graduate program continues. Our desire to reach you and empower you is still continuing. So keep on following. Thank you and be blessed.